"You are not invited to Thanksgiving this year," my parents snapped. My sister said, "Please try to stay away. I don't want you to ruin our event, and if you do end up showing up, it will end badly." Dad added, "Some people just don't belong at family celebrations," I said fine quietly while transferring the $8,000 holiday fund I had sent back into my account and canceling the chalet reservation in their name. By morning, they showed up at my house and broke my door, and when they saw me, they ended up beating me up. Mom grabbed me by the hair, dragging me to the phone, and shouted, "Make that payment now." But they didn't know I had cameras, so what I did next left them speechless. I never thought my family would betray me like this, but here I am, telling you the story that changed everything between us forever. My name is Sarah, and this happened just last November. Looking back now, I can see all the warning signs I ignored for years, but sometimes you don't realize how toxic people are until they show their true colors. Let me start from the beginning so you understand the full picture. I'm 32 years old, work as a software engineer for a major tech company, and make decent money, around $120,000 a year. I've always been the responsible one in my family, the one everyone comes to when they need financial help or someone to organize events. My parents, Linda and Robert, are in their early 60s and have been struggling financially since Dad's construction business went under 3 years ago. My sister Emma is 28, married to a guy named Mike, and they have 2 young kids, Tyler and Sophia. For the past 5 years, I've been the one funding our family's holiday celebrations. Every Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter, I'd send money, usually between $3,000 to $8,000 depending on the occasion, to cover everything from food to decorations to venue rentals. Over those 5 years, I calculated I had spent approximately $52,000 of my own money on family celebrations. The trouble started building up over the past year. Emma had been making increasingly passive-aggressive comments about my life choices. I'm single by choice, focused on my career, and honestly pretty happy with my independence. But Emma seemed to take personal offense to this. She'd make comments like, "Some of us actually have real families," or "It must be nice to only worry about yourself." At first, I brushed it off, thinking she was just stressed with the kids and her marriage. My parents, meanwhile, had been getting more and more demanding about the money I contributed. What started as grateful acceptance turned into expectation, then entitlement. They'd call me weeks before holidays with detailed lists of exactly what they wanted me to pay for, down to specific wine brands and expensive ingredients. When I'd suggest maybe scaling back or that other family members could contribute too, Dad would get angry and say things like, "We raised you, this is the least you can do." But the real breaking point came 3 weeks before Thanksgiving this year. I had already sent the $8,000 holiday fund to Mom's account and booked a beautiful chalet in the mountains for our family gathering, something that cost me an additional $2,400 for the long weekend. Everything was planned and paid for. The chalet had 5 bedrooms, a fully equipped kitchen, a hot tub, and stunning views. I was actually really excited about having our Thanksgiving there. Then Emma called me on a Tuesday evening. I remember I was making dinner when my phone rang. Her voice was cold in a way I'd never heard before. "Sarah, we need to talk about Thanksgiving," she said without any greeting. "Oh, what about it?" "Everything's all set with the chalet, and Mom should have received the money for all the food, and you're not invited this year." I actually laughed because I thought she was joking. "What do you mean I'm not invited? I'm the one who paid for everything." "Listen, Sarah, I'm going to be direct with you. This is my first Thanksgiving as a mother hosting, and I want it to be perfect for my children. Every year, you show up and somehow make everything about you. You correct Mom's cooking, you monopolize conversations with your work stories, and honestly, you just bring this negative energy that I don't want around my kids." I was stunned silent for a moment. "Emma, I don't understand. When have I ever made anything about me? I literally pay for everything and try to help." "That's exactly what I'm talking about," she interrupted. "The way you throw money around like it makes you better than us. The way you act like you're doing us some huge favor. My kids don't need to see that kind of behavior." "But Emma, I'm not throwing money around. I contribute because I want our family to have nice celebrations. I thought that's what everyone wanted." "Well, we don't need your money anymore. Mike got a promotion, and we can handle our own family dinner. So please try to stay away. I don't want you to ruin our event. And if you do end up showing up, it will end badly." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My own sister was disinviting me from Thanksgiving and threatening me? Does Mom know about this? And Dad? It was their idea, actually. "They're tired of your attitude too." Before I could respond, I heard Mom's voice in the background. "Is that Sarah? Let me talk to her." There was some rustling as the phone was passed over. Sarah, honey, Emma's right. You've become very difficult to be around lately. Mom, what are you talking about? I've been nothing but supportive and generous to this family. See, that's exactly the problem right there. You think because you make more money than the rest of us, you can just take over every family event. You've turned our holidays into these expensive productions that make everyone else feel inadequate. I was beyond confused. But you literally send me lists of what you want me to buy. You picked out the chalet I booked. We never asked you to do any of that, Sarah. You just assumed we needed your help and inserted yourself into everything. Now I was getting angry. Mom, that's not true at all. You call me every holiday asking about the budget, telling me what decorations to order, what food to buy. I think you're remembering things differently than they happened, sweetheart. The point is, we want a simple, family-only Thanksgiving this year. Just the core family. I am core family. I'm your daughter. Of course you are, honey, but you understand what I mean. Emma and Mike and the kids, me and Dad. The people who are actually building families and contributing to the next generation. That comment hit me like a physical blow. So because I'm single, I'm not real family? Don't be dramatic, Sarah. You know that's not what I meant. I heard Dad's voice in the background saying something, and then Mom continued. Your father wants to talk to you. Dad's voice came on the line, stern and final. Sarah, some people just don't belong at family celebrations. You've outgrown us, with your fancy job and your big city attitude. Maybe it's time you spend holidays with people more on your level. I sat there holding the phone, feeling like my entire world was crashing down. These people who I'd loved and supported and prioritized for my entire adult life were casting me out like I was some kind of burden. Fine, I said quietly. Good, I'm glad you're being reasonable about this, Dad replied. Fine, I repeated, and hung up. I sat in my kitchen for about 10 minutes, just processing what had happened. Then the hurt started turning into something else. Anger. Determination. If they wanted to treat me like I was nothing more than an ATM that had outlived its usefulness, I was going to show them exactly what they were losing. I opened my banking app and sent a transfer request to move the $8,000 from Mom's account back to mine. Since I had set it up as a revocable transfer initially, I was able to cancel it, though there was a $50 processing fee. Then I called the chalet rental company and canceled the reservation. There was a $300 cancellation fee, but they refunded the rest immediately since it was more than 48 hours in advance. Within 30 minutes, I had pulled back every cent of financial support I'd provided for their perfect family Thanksgiving. I won't lie, I felt a savage satisfaction doing it. They wanted me gone? They could have their intimate family dinner at someone's cramped apartment with whatever they could afford on their own. I decided to treat myself instead. I booked a 4-day weekend at a luxury resort in Napa Valley, spa treatments included. I made reservations at Michelin-starred restaurants. I was going to have the most relaxing, indulgent Thanksgiving of my life while they figured out how to fund their suddenly very expensive holiday plans. But apparently, my family had other ideas. Thursday morning, Thanksgiving Day, I was woken up at 6:30 a.m. by aggressive pounding on my front door. I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood in a house I bought 2 years ago. It's my sanctuary, my safe space, and someone was attacking it. Sarah, open this door right now. Dad's voice was booming. I threw on a robe and went to the door, looking through the peephole. My entire family was standing on my porch, Mom, Dad, Emma, Mike, and even their 2 young kids. They all looked furious. What are you doing here? I called through the door. Open this door, Sarah, we need to talk, Mom shouted. We can talk through the door. You made it very clear I wasn't welcome at family events. Don't be childish, Emma snapped. You know what you did. You stole our holiday money and canceled our reservation. I didn't steal anything. That was my money that I earned, and I decided I didn't want to spend it on people who don't want me around. Sarah, if you don't open this door right now, I'm going to break it down, Dad threatened. I couldn't believe this was happening. Dad, you can't threaten to break into my house. I'm calling the police. Like hell you are, he replied. I heard some rustling and whispering, and then a loud crack. They were actually trying to break down my door. Stop. You're going to wake up the whole neighborhood. Crack. Crack. My front door splintered and gave way. I watched in horror as my father, the man who taught me to ride a bike and helped me with homework, literally broke into my home with my mother and sister cheering him on. They all came flooding into my entryway, and the energy was completely unhinged. Dad's face was red with rage, Mom looked like she was about to have a breakdown, and Emma had this triumphant expression like she'd won some kind of victory. "There she is," Emma said. "The selfish bitch who stole Christmas." "It's Thanksgiving," I said stupidly, still in shock. "Don't get smart with us," Dad said, stepping toward me aggressively. I backed up toward my living room, my heart pounding. "You need to leave. Right now. You just broke into my house, this is illegal." "What's illegal is stealing money that doesn't belong to you," Mom said. "That money absolutely belonged to me. I worked for it, I earned it, and I chose to share it with you until you decided I wasn't good enough for your family dinner. You ruined everything." Emma screamed. "Do you have any idea what you've done? We had to cancel everything. The kids are heartbroken. Mike's parents are coming and now we have nothing to offer them." "That sounds like a you problem, Emma." That's when she hit me. I'm not kidding. My sister, the mother of 2 young children who were standing right there watching, slapped me across the face so hard that my ears rang. "Emma," I gasped, holding my cheek. "You deserve worse than that," she said. Dad stepped forward and grabbed my arm, squeezing it hard enough to leave bruises. "You're going to fix this, Sarah. Right now. Let go of me. Not until you transfer that money back and call the chalet to reinstate our reservation." "I'm not doing that. You told me I wasn't welcome." That's when Dad hit me too. A backhanded slap that sent me stumbling backward. I couldn't believe this was happening. My own father had just struck me in my own home. "You're going to do what we tell you to do," he said. "We raised you, we put a roof over your head for 18 years, and this is how you repay us? By destroying our family holiday?" I was crying now, more from shock than pain, though my face was definitely stinging. "You destroyed it. You're the ones who decided I wasn't good enough to be included." "Stop being so dramatic," Mom said, but she looked uncomfortable watching Dad hit me. "We just wanted one quiet holiday without all your demands and controlling behavior." "What demands? What controlling behavior?" "Oh, don't act innocent," Emma said. "Remember last Christmas when you insisted we open presents in a specific order? When you corrected Mom's stuffing recipe in front of everyone? When you monopolized the conversation talking about your boring job for 2 hours?" I stared at her. "Emma, you asked me about my job. You specifically said you wanted to hear about the projects I was working on." I was being polite. "And Mom asked me to help with the stuffing because she said she couldn't remember if she'd added enough sage. You made her feel stupid." I was trying to help. Dad grabbed my other arm, and now both of them were bruising under his grip. "Enough talking. Where's your phone?" "I'm not giving you my phone." "Fine, we'll use your landline." "I don't have a landline." Mom started looking around my living room frantically. "She has to have a phone somewhere. Look for it." Emma started rifling through my things, opening drawers and looking under couch cushions. Mike was just standing there looking uncomfortable while their kids clung to his legs, obviously scared by what they were witnessing. "Emma, stop going through my stuff." She found my phone on the kitchen counter and brought it over triumphantly. "Here it is." Dad snatched it from her and held it out to me. "Unlock it." "No." He twisted my arm behind my back, and I cried out in pain. "Unlock the phone, Sarah." "Dad, you're hurting me." "I'll stop hurting you when you fix what you broke." I was terrified at this point. These people were completely unhinged, and I was alone in my house with them. I unlocked the phone. Dad immediately went to my banking app. "What's your password for this?" "I'm not giving you my banking passwords." Mom came over and grabbed me by the hair, yanking my head back painfully. "Sarah Elizabeth, you are going to fix this mess right now. Make that payment." She dragged me over to where Dad was holding my phone, her fingers twisted in my hair so tightly I thought she might pull some out. "Do it now." "Mom, let go of me, this is insane." "What's insane is the way you've treated this family," she said. "After everything we've done for you, what have you done for me? I've been financially supporting all of you for years. And now you're going to continue doing it," Dad said. "Here's the thing my family didn't know about me. I had installed a comprehensive security system in my house 6 months earlier after there had been some break-ins in my neighborhood. The system included cameras in every room except the bedrooms and bathrooms, with cloud storage and live streaming capabilities. Every single thing that had happened since they broke down my door was being recorded in crystal clear HD video with audio. But I had also installed a panic button system connected to both the police and a private security company. There was a hidden button under my kitchen island that I could press with my foot, and another one disguised as a light switch in my living room. While Mom was pulling my hair and Dad was trying to force me to access my bank account, I managed to discreetly press the hidden panic button mounted under my kitchen island with my knee. The system was connected to a security company that would contact police, but I knew it would take at least 10 to 15 minutes for anyone to arrive in my suburban neighborhood. "Please," I said, trying to buy time. "You're scaring the kids. Tyler and Sophia shouldn't have to see this." Emma looked over at her children, who were both crying and clinging to Mike. For a moment, I thought she might come to her senses. "They need to see what happens when family members betray each other," she said instead. That's when I heard the most beautiful sound in the world, sirens in the distance, getting closer. "What's that?" Mom asked, loosening her grip on my hair. "Sounds like police," Mike said. Dad's eyes went wide. "Sarah, what did you do?" "I pressed my panic button when you were assaulting me in my own home." "You little," Emma started toward me, but the sirens were getting closer now, and even she wasn't stupid enough to attack me with police about to arrive. About 12 minutes had passed since I'd pressed the panic button, which was actually pretty fast response time for my area. "Everyone stay calm," Dad said. "We'll tell them this is a family dispute, a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" I laughed, tasting blood in my mouth from where he'd hit me. "You broke down my door, assaulted me, and tried to force me to give you money. That's not a misunderstanding, that's multiple felonies." The siren stopped right outside my house, and we could hear car doors slamming and footsteps on my broken porch. "Police. Open up." "It's open," I called. "The door's broken." 3 officers entered my house, hands on their weapons, taking in the scene, me with visible marks on my face and arms, my broken front door, and my family standing around looking guilty as hell. "Ma'am, are you all right?" the lead officer asked me. "No, I'm not. These people broke into my house and assaulted me." "That's not what happened," Dad said immediately. "This is our daughter. There's been a family misunderstanding. Sir, please don't speak unless we ask you a direct question," the officer said firmly. Then to me, "Ma'am, do you want to press charges?" "Absolutely." "Sarah, don't do this," Mom pleaded. "We're family." "Family doesn't break down doors and beat people up over money," I replied. The officers separated everyone and took statements. When I told them about my security system, they asked to see the footage. I accessed my security app on my phone, and we watched the key moments of the incident. The cloud storage had captured everything clearly. You could see Dad breaking down the door, Emma slapping me, Dad hitting me twice, Mom pulling my hair and dragging me around by it. You could hear every threat, every demand for money, every cruel thing they said to me. "This is clear footage of breaking and entering, assault, battery, and harassment," the lead officer said. "We're going to need to arrest all the adults involved." "What about the kids?" I asked, looking at Tyler and Sophia, who were traumatized by this whole thing. "We'll call family services to see if there's another family member who can take them temporarily." Emma's face went white. "No, please, don't take my children." "Sarah, tell them this was all a misunderstanding. Please." I looked at my sister, the woman who had called me a bitch in front of her own children, who had slapped me in my own home, who had rifled through my personal belongings and encouraged her husband and parents to assault me. "I'll call Mike's parents," I said. "They can take the kids until you sort this out." The next few hours were a blur of police reports, evidence collection, and medical documentation of my injuries. The bruises on my arms were already darkening, and I had a split lip from Dad's backhanded slap. The officers photographed everything and took copies of my security footage. Mike's parents came to pick up the kids, and they were horrified when they learned what had happened. Mike's dad actually apologized to me on behalf of their family and said they'd been worried about Emma's behavior lately but never imagined it would escalate to violence. All 4 adults were arrested and charged. Dad got breaking and entering, assault, and battery. Mom got assault and battery. Emma got assault, battery, and destruction of property. Mike got charged with criminal trespass since he entered my home illegally with the group, even though he didn't participate in the violence. But here's where the story gets really satisfying. While they were all sitting in jail waiting for their arraignment, I was at home documenting everything and making copies of all my security footage. I also went through my financial records for the past 5 years and calculated exactly how much money I had contributed to family events, $52,000. $52,000 of my hard-earned money had gone to funding holidays for people who thought I was selfish and controlling and didn't deserve to be included in family celebrations. I posted the security footage on social media along with a detailed explanation of what had happened. I didn't post the part where they were hurting me. I'm not trying to traumatize people, but I did post the audio of them calling me names, demanding money, and threatening me, along with the footage of them breaking down my door. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Friends, co-workers, extended family members, and even strangers were horrified by my family's behavior. My story got shared thousands of times, and local news stations picked it up. My Aunt Carol, Dad's sister, called me crying and apologizing for the way her brother had treated me. She said she always suspected my parents were taking advantage of my generosity but never realized how bad it had gotten. Several cousins reached out to say they had similar experiences with my parents always expecting financial help but never offering any gratitude or reciprocation. Most importantly, Emma's in-laws saw the footage and the news coverage. They immediately filed for emergency temporary custody of Tyler and Sophia, arguing that Emma and Mike had exposed their children to domestic violence and criminal behavior. The family court granted temporary custody while ordering a full investigation. Emma's perfect little family was falling apart, and it was all her own doing. The court case took about 8 months to fully resolve since everyone initially pleaded not guilty. Dad eventually pleaded guilty to all charges and got 4 months in county jail plus 2 years probation, and had to pay restitution for my door and medical bills. Mom pleaded guilty and got 2 months jail time plus probation. Emma pleaded guilty and got 60 days plus anger management classes and parenting classes. Mike's lawyer managed to get him a plea deal for just probation since he didn't physically participate in the assault, but he had to do community service. But the real consequences were just beginning. Dad's general contractor's license was suspended pending a review by the state licensing board due to the felony convictions, which meant he couldn't legally work on most construction projects. Mom was placed on administrative leave from the school district while they conducted their own investigation into her criminal charges. Emma's nursing license was suspended pending review by the state board, and Mike's employer, a conservative financial firm, fired him immediately when the story went viral. Mike's parents ended up with custody of Tyler and Sophia after a lengthy court battle that lasted over a year. The family court judge ruled that Emma had shown extremely poor judgment and violent tendencies that could endanger the children's well-being, and that Mike had failed to protect his children from witnessing domestic violence. The divorce proceedings started about 6 months after the incident, once Mike realized his marriage was beyond repair. Emma ended up moving back in with my parents, who were now living in a tiny 2-bedroom apartment since they'd lost their house too. Meanwhile, I was thriving. The support I received from people who saw my story was incredible. Several job offers came my way from companies who were impressed by how I handled the situation. I got promoted at work partly because my boss said the whole experience demonstrated my character and resilience. I bought a beautiful new front door, solid oak with smart locks and a video doorbell. I installed additional security measures and decided to treat my home as the sanctuary it was always meant to be. But the most satisfying part came about 3 months later. I was at the grocery store when I ran into Emma. She looked terrible, her hair was unwashed, she was wearing clothes that didn't fit properly, and she had dark circles under her eyes. She saw me and immediately started crying. "Sarah, please, I need to talk to you." I kept pushing my cart, but she followed me down the cereal aisle. "I'm so sorry about what happened. I was wrong, we were all wrong. I miss my kids so much, and Mike won't let me see them without supervised visits. I've lost everything." I stopped and looked at her. "Emma, you didn't lose everything. You threw it away. You had a family who loved you, a sister who would have done anything for you, and you decided that wasn't enough. I know I messed up. But can't you forgive me? We're family. Family doesn't assault each other over money, Emma. Family doesn't break down doors and drag people around by their hair. Family doesn't call each other bitches in front of children." I was angry, I wasn't thinking clearly. The stress of the kids and Mike being out of work and, "Don't blame your children for your choices, Emma. Tyler and Sophia deserve better than that." She grabbed my arm, and I immediately pulled away. "Please don't touch me. You've lost the right to touch me. Sarah, I need help. I need money for a lawyer to get my kids back. I need money for rent. Mom and Dad can't help, they're barely surviving themselves." I looked at her for a long moment. "Emma, do you remember what you said to me on the phone that night?" "What?" "You said you didn't need my money anymore. You said Mike could handle your family's expenses. You said I threw money around to make myself feel better than everyone else." Her face crumpled. "I didn't mean it." "Yes, you did. You meant every word. The only thing you didn't mean was that you could handle your own expenses. But that's not my problem anymore. So you're just going to let me lose my children? You lost your children when you decided to assault me in front of them. You lost your children when you taught them that violence is an acceptable response to not getting what you want. You lost your children when you chose money over family. I started to walk away, but she followed me again. What do you want me to do? Beg? Fine, I'm begging. Please help me. I turned around one more time. Emma, you want to know what I want you to do? I want you to learn to solve your problems without expecting other people to bail you out. I want you to take responsibility for the consequences of your actions. I want you to understand that other people are not obligated to fund your life choices. But you have so much money. I have money because I work for it, I budget carefully, I make smart decisions, and I don't assault people when things don't go my way. The fact that I have money doesn't make it yours. So that's it? You're going to let our family fall apart? Our family fell apart the moment you decided I wasn't good enough to be part of it. I'm just refusing to pay to put it back together. That was 18 months ago. Since then, several things have happened. Emma's parental rights were terminated after an extensive legal process that took over a year. She failed to complete court-ordered counseling and parenting classes, and was arrested again for harassment after she started showing up at Tyler's school trying to take him home. She's currently living in a halfway house and working at a gas station. Mom and Dad declared bankruptcy and moved to a senior living facility in a different state where the cost of living is lower. Dad found work doing odd jobs and small repairs that didn't require a contractor's license, though his income dropped significantly. Mom eventually returned to work at the school district after completing additional training, but her career advancement opportunities were limited due to her criminal record. Mike has started dating someone new, a woman he met through his parents' church, and Tyler and Sophia seem happy and well-adjusted. I see pictures sometimes on social media, and they look like normal kids living normal lives without the chaos and violence that Emma brought to their household. I bought a new car, took a 3-week vacation to Europe, and started dating someone I really like. I've been promoted twice and am being considered for a management position that would come with a significant salary increase. Most importantly, I've learned to value myself enough not to accept mistreatment from people just because we share DNA. The hardest part of this whole experience wasn't the physical assault or even the betrayal. It was accepting that the family I thought I had never really existed. I had created an idealized version of these people in my mind, where my generosity was appreciated and my presence was valued. The reality was that they saw me as an ATM with legs, someone who existed to make their lives easier and more comfortable. When I stopped providing that service, their true feelings about me came out in the most violent way possible. But here's what I learned: you can't buy love, respect, or genuine family bonds. Real family would never ask you to choose between your dignity and their acceptance. Real family celebrates your success instead of resenting it. Real family includes you in gatherings not because you pay for them, but because they want you there. I've built a new chosen family now, friends who value me for who I am, not what I can provide. I've found people who are genuinely happy about my success and who contribute to celebrations instead of expecting me to fund everything alone. My house has been peaceful for 18 months now. Nobody pounds on my door demanding money. Nobody calls me selfish for wanting to be treated with basic respect. Nobody tells me I don't belong at family gatherings. And you know what? My holidays have been absolutely wonderful. Last Thanksgiving, I went to my friend Jennifer's house where everyone brought a dish and we all cooked together. Nobody fought, nobody made cruel comments, and nobody demanded that I pay for anything. We laughed, we shared stories, and when I left, everyone hugged me and told me they were grateful to have me in their lives. That's what family actually feels like. Sometimes people ask me if I regret pressing charges against my parents and sister. They ask if I feel guilty about the consequences they faced or if I wish I could forgive them and rebuild our relationship. The answer is no. I regret that it took me 32 years to stand up for myself. I regret that I enabled their behavior for so long by accepting their mistreatment and rewarding it with financial support. I regret that I didn't see their true nature sooner. But I don't regret protecting myself when they became violent. I don't regret refusing to be extorted. And I definitely don't regret the security cameras that captured every moment of their assault so there could be no gaslighting or revisionist history about what really happened. Those cameras didn't just record evidence of their crimes, they recorded evidence of who these people really are when they don't get what they want. They recorded the proof that I needed to finally accept that these relationships were never healthy and were never going to become healthy. The most common response I get when I tell this story is people saying, "But they're your family." As if genetic relationships create some kind of obligation to accept abuse. I used to believe that too. Now I know that family, real family, would never put you in a position where you had to choose between your safety and their acceptance. Emma still tries to contact me occasionally through social media or mutual acquaintances. She's always looking for money, always has a sob story about her circumstances, always promises she's changed and learned her lesson. I block her every time. My parents haven't attempted to contact me directly, but I heard through Aunt Carol that they tell people I abandoned the family over a misunderstanding and that I'm too proud to forgive. They're apparently still painting themselves as the victims in this situation. That's fine. Let them tell whatever story makes them feel better. The security footage tells the real story, and anyone who wants to know the truth can see exactly what kind of misunderstanding involves breaking down doors and physically assaulting someone. The best revenge really is living well, and I'm living very well. I have a job I love, friends who respect me, a beautiful home that feels safe and peaceful, and complete control over my own money and my own life. I don't wake up stressed about what financial crisis I'll be expected to solve or what family drama I'll be expected to mediate. I don't spend my holidays walking on eggshells trying to keep everyone happy while being treated like hired help. I spend my money on things that bring me joy instead of things that buy me temporary acceptance from people who fundamentally don't respect me. And every time I look at my beautiful solid oak front door with its smart locks and security system, I'm reminded that I have the power to control who gets access to my life and my resources. Some people say I went too far by pressing charges, by not dropping them when my family begged me to, by refusing to help them when they lost everything. But here's what those people don't understand: my family didn't lose everything because I pressed charges. They lost everything because they committed crimes. They lost everything because they made choices that had predictable consequences. I didn't destroy my family. My family destroyed itself, and I simply refused to be destroyed with it. The woman who used to send thousands of dollars to people who called her selfish doesn't exist anymore. The woman who used to accept cruel treatment because family is gone. The woman writing this story knows her worth, protects her peace, and surrounds herself with people who add value to her life instead of extracting it. And that woman is never going back to being anyone's personal ATM. If you're reading this and you recognize yourself in my old patterns, if you're the one always paying, always organizing, always giving more than you receive, always making excuses for people who treat you badly because family is family, I want you to know that you deserve better. You deserve to be valued for who you are, not what you can provide. You deserve to be included because people want you there, not because you're funding the event. You deserve basic respect and kindness from the people in your life. And if they can't give you those things, then maybe it's time to find people who can. Because at the end of the day, the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself. And that relationship should never require you to accept abuse, tolerate disrespect, or sacrifice your dignity for anyone else's comfort. My parents were right about one thing: some people don't belong at family celebrations. They just had the wrong person in mind. It wasn't me who didn't belong. It was them. People who break down doors don't belong at celebrations. People who assault their own children don't belong at family gatherings. People who see their relatives as nothing more than sources of funding don't deserve to be included in anything. I belong at celebrations where I'm wanted, valued, and respected. I belong at tables where my presence is a gift, not a burden. I belong with people who celebrate my success instead of resenting it. And those people? They were never my real family anyway. The cameras didn't just capture evidence of their crimes that day. They captured the moment I finally saw clearly who these people really were. They captured the end of my old life and the beginning of my new one. And my new life is absolutely beautiful.